Do you think that he was talking about using the military against you? And how concerned are you about retribution?
Clearly, that's what he was talking about. Would he go to that length with the military, essentially fulfill some kind of a unconstitutional order? I would hope the military would have more independence than that. Look, I'm not going to be intimidated by anything he says, by anything he does. If I was, I wouldn't be on your show.
That's disgraced Democrat Senator Adam Schiff telling CNN's Jake Tapper that he believes Trump is going to use the military to come after him. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like old pencil neck Adam Schiff is starting to lose it again. Because in addition to his ridiculous paranoia about military retribution, Schiff appears to be still trying to peddle the Russia collusion hoax, a point that even Jake Tapper had to push back on.
I'm looking at these nominees, Tulsi Gabbard to be Director of National Intelligence, possibly Kash Patel to be head of the FBI, Gates at DOJ, RFK Jr. at HHS, and others. And obviously he is bringing a group of people to disrupt. I mean, that is what Speaker Johnson said. And I'm wondering about how much anybody in Washington is being introspective at all about why there is this kind of opening for disruptors, if not necessarily these individuals. You were censured in the House last year for, in their view, holding positions of power during the Trump presidency as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. And according to them, quote, abusing this trust by saying there was evidence of collusion between Trump's campaign and Russia. And I wonder if you are feeling at all introspective at all about that was, according to the Mueller report and according to your Republican colleagues, an overstatement. And I wonder if you think in any way you help set the table for these disruptors.
You know, first of all, it wasn't an overstatement. There is evidence of collusion. The Trump campaign manager was meeting with Russian intelligence and giving them internal polling data, just to give you one example. And the Mueller report sets all this out.
It does say, quote, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities, which doesn't mean that he didn't, that there weren't meetings, but they didn't find evidence.
Mueller says that too. He says the fact that we didn't find proof beyond a reasonable doubt doesn't mean there wasn't evidence of conspiracy or coordination. So,
this is absolutely amazing. I mean, talk about not conceding. Schiff is so desperate to cling to the only thing that gave him an ounce of notoriety that instead of using Tapper's question as an opportunity to dig himself out of a hole, he quadruples down on Russia, 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 which the only reason I can possibly imagine for doing that, besides his giant ego, is because that it's currently what Democrats are using to attack Tulsi Gabbard on as well. Here's Dave Smith on Piers Morgan pointing out why this tactic won't work anymore.
Because everything she's done the past 10 years and said has been exactly what Russia would want her to say or do. So she's either an asset or a dupe.
That's the dumbest standard ever. Who cares? If I said Saddam Hussein doesn't have weapons of mass destruction, that might be exactly what Saddam Hussein wants me to say. That doesn't mean anything. You see, Pierce, this is the trick here. And I'm sorry, I know you want to go to Julian, but the trick is that the same way they used to say Trump Russia collusion, they wouldn't say Donald Trump's in a conspiracy with the Russians. You see, because that's actually meets the criminal code. And then so you just say collusion because what does that even mean? They could have had a phone call. Okay. They're colluding, but that's totally legal. So when you say she's a Russian asset, you give this wink and a nod like she's a traitor. The argument is that there were a million off-ramps to the war in Ukraine, and that the West chose to not take any of them, and that this war could have been avoided, and it could have been negotiated away. Now, the idea that if someone makes this argument, your counter to that is to say that you're a Putin asset. This is so, first off, it's just despicable, and it's profoundly stupid. It makes absolutely no sense at all. So listen, at least during the original McCarthyism period, at least during the House Committee on American Activities, at least back then, there were some communists. Nobody is loyal to Vladimir Putin. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
This Russia stuff is really just liberals grasping for straws at this point. They have no leadership and are fuming that within a week of Trump winning, things already began to improve. The EU said it wants to buy U.S. natural gas to avoid Trump's tariffs. Putin said that it'll sell Russian oil in U.S. dollars. Hamas is calling for peace. Mexico broke up a caravan headed for America. And establishment media is in shambles and facing massive layoffs. Meanwhile, Democrats are hysterically running around and trying to use their Hillary and Obama era playbooks to sway voters and baffled why it's not working anymore. But let me know what you think. Will Trump use the military to go after people like Adam Schiff? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!